Good morning, everyone. My name is Jitendra. I'm a full stack web developer with 7+ years of experience and in teaching and development. Okay, I'm going to teach you this full stack web development course for next 1 month. Okay, so before that, let's see the contents of this 1 month. Okay. So these are the course contents for our next 1 month. So in the initial week, we'll discuss about Python basics. If any students who are not familiar with Python, so they will get some familiarity with Python. Okay. And from the second week itself, we will jump into Django. So in the second week, we'll discuss about Django basics. Okay. And then we'll discuss about forms and models, and then about authentication and authorization, which means how to log in users and how to maintain sessions of user data. Okay. And in the fifth week, we'll discuss about final project and how to deploy the project into a running website. Okay. And we also discuss about how to develop APIs. Okay. And we'll do the final project. Okay. So in this entire 2 months course, so in the first month, you will have this training session. And along with this training session, every week you will have one task. Okay. So total 8 tasks will be there will be 8 tasks in this entire this 2 months of course session. Okay. So anybody have any doubts regarding the course schedule or any doubts regarding the schedule? Can speak up. Okay.
Yeah, hi, this is Venkat. And as already discussed with you all, so here we'll take 2 months of internship. So already he explained, Jitendra has explained everything. So he will guide you every point. Is there any further questions from your side? So, okay, Jitendra, you can continue. So if any doubts, you can contact me or you can contact him also. So mostly you can contact me. I will clarify your doubts. Okay? Thank you. And in joining, if any issues, you contact me. Continue. Yeah, you can continue. They don't have questions, so they are not asking. You can continue the session. Hello, Jitendra, we are not getting your audio. Can you speak out once? Hello.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
So in today's session, we are going to discuss about these topics. First one is what is programming and what is Python and why should we use Python and how web works, what is front end, what is back end, and what is full stack, what is the framework and Django framework, okay, and how to set up Python in your system, variables in Python, and data types in Python. Okay, so these are the topics that we are going to cover for today. Okay, so first topic is what is programming. Okay, so programming is the process of instructing a computer to perform a set of tasks. Okay, so మన computer ni, so if you want to communicate with your computer, so using certain language, so that language is called as programming. Okay, so using programming we are able to communicate with our system. Okay, so the programming roles may involve like problem solving, automation, innovation. Okay, communication with computers. Okay, so problem solving in the sense, so it allows developers to break down complex problems into smaller and manageable tasks so that computer can understand and execute. Okay, so ఒక big programming task ఉంటే సో దాన్ని మనం సో manageable tasks గా break down చేసుకుని సో using a programming language we are able to solve by communicating with our computer. Okay, so in automation, so recent innovation వచ్చేసి మొత్తం automation. Okay, so automation వచ్చేసి so developers can automate process, so by saving time and reducing errors. Okay, so data entry, emails, file management, even so previously the users or specific job holders used to do the manual tasks. Okay, so now everything got automated using some AI tools. Okay, so using this automation we can save time and reduce errors. Okay, and next one is innovation. Okay, సో లేటెస్ట్ వచ్చేసి మొత్తం ఇయర్ కరెంట్ ట్రెండ్ వచ్చేసి ఏఐ అండ్ మిషన్ లెర్నింగ్, రైట్? సో మన అగ్రికల్చర్లో వచ్చేసి సో డ్రోన్ ఫార్మింగ్. ఓకే, వీఆర్ సీయింగ్ ఆటో సెల్ఫ్ డ్రైవింగ్ కార్స్. ఓకే, ఇన్ మెడికల్ ఫీల్డ్ వీఆర్ సీయింగ్ robotics performing operations. Okay, all these are the latest innovations which are running by a program. Okay, and next one is communication with computers. Okay, so programming serves as means of communication between humans and computers. Okay, సో మనం ప్రోగ్రామ్ యూజ్ చేసుకుని సో మన కంప్యూటర్స్తో కమ్యూనికేషన్ అనేది సో ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేయగలం. ఓకే, జస్ట్ సెకండ్. So okay, so we are using programming as a means of communication between humans and computers. So programming language, so programming ante so giving instructions to computer. Okay, so programming language is a formal system designed to communicate instructions to a computer. Okay, so programming is a thing. Okay, language is a tool anamata. Okay, so how to communicate anedi. Okay, so దీంట్లో there are different types of languages which are low level languages and high level languages. Okay, low level languages are assembly languages, C, COBOL, machine code. Okay, so these are some examples of low level languages which are difficult to understand for human. Okay, so these are closer to machine language. Okay, so ఇవి మిషన్ కి ఈజీగా అండర్స్టాండ్ అవుతాయి కానీ సో యూజర్ కి సో యూ హ్యావ్ టు బై హార్ట్ ద సింటాక్స్ అనమాట. ఓకే, హై లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వచ్చేసి పైథాన్, జావా, C++, జావా స్క్రిప్ట్. ఓకే, ఇవి వచ్చేసి క్లోజర్ టు హ్యూమన్ లాంగ్వేజ్. ఓకే, సో డైలీ మనం హ్యూమన్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఎలా అయితే యూజ్ చేస్తామో సో సేమ్ వే సో సిమిలర్ వర్డ్స్తో సో ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ అనేది డిజైన్ చేయబడింది. ఓకే, సో దట్ వీ కెన్ ఈజీలీ అండర్స్టాండ్ ద syntax of our programming language and we can understand what we are doing. Okay, so this is the difference between low level languages and high level languages. Okay, next one, what is Python? Okay, so Python is a high level interpreted and general purpose programming language. So ipude discuss chesam kada high level languages ani. So Python is a high level language which means it's more readable and easier to write కంపేర్డ్ టు లో లెవెల్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ అనమాట. ఓకే, సో పైథాన్ సింటాక్స్ వచ్చేసి జనరల్గా మన ఇంగ్లీష్ సెంటెన్సెస్ ఎలా అయితే ఉంటాయో సేమ్ అలాగే ఉంటాయి. ఓకే, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఫర్ నేమ్ ఇన్ నేమ్స్. ఓకే, అంటే ఒక నేమ్స్లో ఒక నేమ్. ఓకే, సో ఇఫ్ సంథింగ్ హ్యాపన్స్ వాట్ షుడ్ ఐ డూ. ఓకే, సో ఇలా సింటాక్స్ అనేది సో ఇలా ఈజీగా ఇంగ్లీష్ లాంగ్వేజ్ అయితే ఎలా ఉంటుందో సో మనం ఎలా అయితే అండర్స్టాండ్ చేసుకుంటామో సో అలాగే మన పైథాన్ సింటాక్స్ కూడా సో జస్ట్ లైక్ రీడింగ్ అండ్ ఇంగ్లీష్ పేపర్ అనమాట. ఓకే, Python is a high level language. Okay, and interpreted. So interpreted in the sense other languages like Java, okay, PHP ఇవన్నీ వచ్చేసి they will get compiled అనమాట. అంటే మొత్తం ఎంటైర్ కోడ్ అంతా So before running that code, you have to compile. Okay, so compile ante, so it will convert our programming language to mission understandable language, so that it will be easier for to mission to interpret it. Okay, so ఈ ప్రాసెస్ వచ్చేసి somewhat లేట్ ప్రాసెస్ అనమాట. సో పైథాన్ వచ్చేసి ఇంటర్ప్రిటెడ్ అంటే, సో ఈ కంపైలింగ్ స్టెప్ అనేది ఏముండదు. సో డైరెక్ట్గా సో మనం రన్ చేసినప్పుడు ఇట్ విల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ బై లైన్ అనమాట. ఓకే, సో మనం రాసిన కోడ్ సో ఫ్రమ్ స్టార్టింగ్ టు బాటమ్ లైన్ బై లైన్ ఈచ్ లైన్ ఆఫ్ కోడ్ అనేది సో కంపైల్ అయ్యి రన్ అవుతుంది. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ కోడ్ విల్ బి ఫాస్టర్ కంపేర్డ్ టు కంపైల్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ అనమాట. ఓకే, సో పైథాన్ ఈజ్ ఏ ఇంటర్ప్రిటెడ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ and general purpose programming language. Okay, so general purpose in the sense this program Python is not designed for specific one domain. అంటే సో పర్టికులర్గా సో ఈ డొమైన్కి ఈ లాంగ్వేజ్ యూజ్ చేయాలని లేదు. ఓకే, సో పైథాన్ కెన్ బి యూజ్డ్ ఫర్ వెబ్ డెవలప్మెంట్, డేటా సైన్స్, ఆర్టిఫిషియల్ ఇంటెలిజెన్స్, automation, scientific computing, okay, and in many other fields, medical field, finance field. Okay, సో ఇలా డిఫరెంట్ డొమైన్స్లో మనం సో పైథాన్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ అనేది యూజ్ చేయొచ్చు అండ్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నారు. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఈజ్ నాట్ డిజైన్ ఫర్ స్పెసిఫిక్ పర్పస్. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఈజ్ డిజైన్ ఫర్ జనరల్ పర్పస్. అంటే సో ఇట్ హ్యావ్ వైడ్ స్పెక్ట్రమ్ ఆఫ్ ఏరియా టు యూజ్ అనమాట. ఓకే, సో దిస్ పైథాన్ ఈజ్ డిజైన్డ్ బై గైడో వన్ రాసన్. ఓకే, and the first release is released in 1991. Okay, so this is the details about Python language. Okay, so why should we use Python? Okay, so Python in the languages recently Python enduku top lo undante, so it is easy to learn and use. Okay, so the syntax is clear and readable. Okay, and versatile. Okay, so we discuss chesam kada, it's designed for general purpose, which means it can be used for it can be used in different fields anamata, like web field, data analysis, artificial intelligence, scientific computing, machine learning, medical, finance, agriculture. Okay, so ఇలా నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఫీల్డ్స్లో సో పైథాన్ అనేది కరెంట్గా యూస్ చేస్తున్నారు యాజ్ ఎ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్. ఓకే, సో అండ్ పైథాన్ హ్యాస్ లార్జ్ కమ్యూనిటీ అండ్ ఎకో సిస్టమ్. ఓకే, సో ఇట్ హ్యాస్ రిచ్ లైబ్రరీస్ అండ్ ఫ్రేమ్వర్క్స్. అంటే సో మనం బేసిక్ పైథానే కాకుండా ఇంకా థర్డ్ పార్టీ లైబ్రరీస్, ఇంకా ఈ లాంగ్వేజ్ని ఎన్హాన్స్ చేయడానికి సో దేర్ ఆర్ అదర్ మాడ్యూల్స్ సో దట్ వీ కెన్ యూజ్ అండ్ we can download and enhance our programming. Okay, like Django framework, NumPy, TensorFlow. So ఇవన్నీ సో డిఫరెంట్ ఫీల్డ్స్లో యూస్ చేయడానికి సో ఎక్స్ట్రా ఫీచర్స్ యాడ్ చేస్తే లైబ్రరీస్ అనేవి పైథాన్కి సపోర్ట్ ఉంది కంపేర్డ్ టు అదర్ లాంగ్వేజెస్. ఓకే, సో దిస్ ఈస్ వై పైథాన్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ టాప్ పొజిషన్ కరెంట్లీ. Okay, how web works. Okay, so we already know that in web there will be two types of systems. First one is client side and second one is server side. Okay, so in this client side, so user makes requests. Let us explain using a diagram so that you will understand. Just a second. Okay, so okay, so in general, so మనకి ఒక కంప్యూటర్, ఓకే, ఆర్ మొబైల్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాం, రైట్? సో దిస్ విల్ బి క్లయింట్. అంటే సో ఎవరైతే సో యూజర్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఒక ఫ్రంట్ అండ్ యూఐ పార్ట్ని యూజ్ చేస్తున్నారో సో దోస్ ఆర్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ క్లయింట్స్ అన్నమాట. ఓకే, అండ్ దేర్ ఈజ్ సర్వర్. ఓకే, సో మన వెబ్సైట్లో ఏం రిక్వెస్ట్ చేసినా రెస్పాన్స్ ఇవ్వడానికి దెర్ ఈజ్ ఏ వన్ బ్రెయిన్ అన్నమాట. సో దిస్ బ్రెయిన్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ సర్వర్. Okay, so whenever we are requesting for a website, for example we are requesting for a www.google.com. Okay, so this will have a masked IP address. Okay, each website ki oka unique IP address అనేది ఉంటుంది. Okay, so IP address like 127 132 141. సో ఇలా సో ఈచ్ అడ్రస్కి ఒక అడ్రస్ అనేది ఉంటుంది, ఒక ఐపీ అడ్రస్ అనేది ఉంటుంది. సో ఈ ఐపీ అడ్రస్ మనం రోజు రిమెంబర్ చేసి యూస్ చేయడానికి కష్టంగా ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి సో ఈచ్ ఐపీ అడ్రస్కి ఒక మాస్క్డ్ యూఆర్ఎల్ అనేది వెబ్సైట్ డొమైన్ అనేది యాడ్ చేస్తారు. ఓకే, సో దట్ ఇట్ విల్ బీ ఈజీ టు రిమెంబర్ అండ్ ఈజీ టు టైప్ అనేది. ఓకే, సో మనం ఎప్పుడైతే ఒక డివైస్ నుంచి సో మనం ఒక వెబ్సైట్ని రిక్వెస్ట్ చేస్తామో సో this request will be sent to the DNS and it will be translated to the IP address, and ఈ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు IP అడ్రస్ ఎక్కడైతే ఏ సర్వర్లో అయితే హోస్ట్ అవుతుందో సో ఆ సర్వర్కి రిక్వెస్ట్ వెళ్తుంది. ఓకే, సో రిక్వెస్ట్ అనేది సో ఇలా వెళ్తుంది. సో రిక్వెస్ట్ వెళ్ళిన తర్వాత మనం ఏ రిక్వెస్ట్ చేసాం, ఒక వెబ్సైట్ రిక్వెస్ట్ చేసాం. ఓకే, సో రిక్వెస్ట్ చేసిన వెబ్సైట్కి సంబంధించిన ఫైల్స్. ఓకే, సో google.com రిప్రజెంట్ చేయడానికి ఏమేమి ఫైల్స్ కావాలి, ఏ HTML ఫైల్స్ కావాలి, ఏ జావాస్క్రిప్ట్ ఫైల్స్ కావాలి, సో అవంతా సో బ్యాక్ టు మన బ్రౌజర్కి రెస్పాన్స్ ఇస్తుంది. Okay, so how this is how the webflow works అనమాట. Okay, so same way, so if we are doing some login work, okay, if you are trying to log into some Facebook, okay, so Facebook లోకి మనం లాగిన్ అవ్వడానికి ట్రై చేస్తున్నాం. సో లాగిన్ రిక్వెస్ట్ వచ్చేసి సో యూ విల్ సెండ్ ద రిక్వెస్ట్ లాగిన్ యాజ్ యూజర్ నేమ్ అండ్ పాస్వర్డ్. ఓకే, సో యూజర్ నేమ్ అండ్ పాస్వర్డ్ని సో ఇది డేటాబేస్. ఓకే, సో ఇక్కడికి రిక్వెస్ట్ వచ్చిన తర్వాత సో ఇక్కడ మన సర్వర్లో సో దీనికి సంబంధించిన లాజిక్ సో ఈ యూజర్ నేమ్ అండ్ పాస్వర్డ్ని వ్యాలిడేట్ చేసి డేటాబేస్ నుంచి రిట్రీవ్ చేసి సో కరెక్ట్ డేటానా కాదని వ్యాలిడేట్ చేసి కరెక్ట్ డేటా అయితే సో మీ ప్రొఫైల్ పేజ్ ఆర్ మీ టైమ్ లైన్ పేజ్ సో రెస్పాన్స్ అనేది ఇస్తుంది. జస్ట్ సెకండ్. Okay, sorry, I thought everyone are from Andhra Pradesh, that's why I'm using Telugu. Okay, so just now I got to know that there are students from other states as well. Sorry for that. Okay, so if there are any such type of issues you can on your mic and respond. Okay, so that I can correct. Okay, so let's continue. So if you make a login request so that the respective login request logic will be available in the server. Okay, so that server will validate your data by requesting database. Okay, and it will respond with the respective data to your front end. Okay, so this is called as client part, which is our laptops, mobiles, okay, or any website, any internet using device. Okay, and this is called server part. So this will be at somewhere in the remote place. Okay, so using internet we are able to connect with this server. Okay, so in this part, so this front end part is handled this front end part is languages are HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. Okay, and some frameworks. Okay, we'll discuss about front end part in detail. Okay, and in the back end is Python, Java, okay, PHP, Node.js. Okay, so like these languages are widely used for backend purpose, and these languages are widely used for this client side, and these are for server side. Okay, we'll discuss them in further slides. Okay, so this is the flow. Okay, so from our device we'll request something from our server, and in response it will give some response to our front end parts. So that's how our web pages will get updated on that. Okay, so this is how web works. Okay. So the next part is, so what is a front end? Okay. So front end development involves creating the user interfaces and experience of a website or application. Okay. So sorry, just now we had discussed about the what is front end side and what is server side. Okay, client side, server side. Okay, so client side is the part where we deal with the front end development. Okay, so the front end development involves, so when you when you open a website, what you see, okay, the UI part, okay, like images, forms, login form, sign up form, logout, yeah, the images you posted on your internet. Okay, all this called as the UI part. Okay, so which is which is dealt by the front end development. Okay, so in front end development, what we do is we develop the user interface. Okay, so the user, when you open a website, what he see is developed by the front end development. Okay, front end developer. Okay, so in this front end development, widely used languages are HTML, CSS, JavaScript are the main building blocks of every website. Okay, so recently there have been some JavaScript frameworks like AngularJS, React.js, okay, Vue.js, okay. All this comes into the front end part, okay. So which are used to design user interface, okay. So this is front end development. Okay, next one is back end development. So backend development focuses on building and maintaining the server-side logic. So previously we have discussed, right? So server-side logic in the sense, for example, we are requesting for a login request. Okay. So in the server, someone have to deal with the login request, right? So they have to verify that whether there is user with this current email address or not. Okay. If there is user, so the entered password is right or not. Okay. So there should be some logic to verify this data. Okay. So to do that, there will be some server side language. So which deals with this part. Okay. So backend development focuses on building and maintaining the server-side logic, database, and application architecture that enable the functionality of websites or applications. Okay. So one backend language which will deal with this server-side logic and databases. Okay. So for example, in our context, we deal with Python for backend context. Okay. So backend developers work with server-side languages like Python, Java, Ruby, PHP to manage data, process request, and execute the business logic of an application. Okay. For example, so when an user requested for a URL, so that URL will be processed by your Python application, and it will send the required response. Okay. So here your Python is the server side language. Okay. So next topic is full stack. Okay. So full stack development involves proficiency in both front end and back end technologies. Okay. So allowing developers to work on the entire software stack of a web application. Generally, there will be front end developers and back end developers, which means so front end developers will deal with the, so what to show the user when a user website when a user accesses that website. Okay. So backend developers deals with the what to response for request sent by the front end user. Okay. So basically there used to be two different developers to deal with both these tasks, but in recent developments there is a high rise of full stack, there is a demand of full stack developers who can deal with both front end part and back end part. Okay. So to get familiarity with front end part, you have to be proficient in first basic three things like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then in addition to them, you should be proficient in one of the front end framework like Angular, React, or Vue.js. Okay, so then, and also you should be familiar with one of the backend language like Python, Java, or PHP, Ruby. Okay, so you should be familiar with any of this language, and also you should be familiar with SQL. Okay, so when you are familiar with all these languages, you you will be called as full stack developer. Okay, so what is a framework? So we have discussed about, I have said that there are JavaScript frameworks like Angular, React, okay, Vue.js. Okay, so what is that framework? Okay, so a framework is a structured set of tools and conventions that simplifies the simplifies and accelerates software development by providing a foundation for building applications. Okay, so which means For example, if you consider this JavaScript as a plain language as bricks. Okay, so there will be bricks, right? To construct houses, we use bricks, right? So if we consider JavaScript as bricks, frameworks are like pre-made components. Okay, for example, there is a window component, so which we there is no need to construct it from the scratch. Okay, so there is already a window frame, so we can ready to use it. Okay, and there is a for example, recently we are seeing that uh, installing houses, right? So instead of constructing from the scratch houses, there are pre-made walls. Okay, so we can directly transport them and we can directly set them as a house. Okay, so here the bricks are uh, normal programming languages, core programming, vanilla programming languages. So frameworks are like, so using these bricks they will make some already pre-made components, so that we don't have to construct them from basic. Okay, so directly, so we can use the readily available components so that our work will be easy. Okay, and there is also a structure for these applications. Okay, so by developing from scratch, we'll follow our own structure. Okay, there will be no particular structure or vision. Okay, so but in frameworks, there will be some guidelines. Okay, and there will be some structure to organize your programming files. Okay, so this is the advantage of using framework. Okay, so your work will be structured and your workflow will be easier and faster, because all the most of the components like dealing with databases, dealing with login mechanism. Okay, so how to upload images. Okay, all these are already all these have some pre-made components, so that we can simply call them or import them and use. Okay, so everything should not be developed from the scratch. Okay, so we can use readily available components. Okay, so in JavaScript there are frameworks like AngularJS, Vue.js, uh, React.js. Okay, in Python for web development there are frameworks like Django. Okay, Flask, Bottleneck. Okay, Fast API. Okay, so these are all currently using frameworks in Python for web development. Okay. Similarly, each language has some advanced frameworks. Okay. For example, PHP have Laravel. Okay. So like that, Java has Spring Boot. Okay. So like this, so every language have a framework, so that we everything should not be cannot be there is no necessity to develop from the scratch. Okay. So these are called as frameworks, which have some structure and tools. Okay, so next one is Django framework. So, so our current course is about Django framework, right? So Django is a high-level Python web framework, so that facilitates rapid and pragmatic development for robust web applications. Okay, so just now we discussed it, right? So instead of developing everything from scratch, so Django has some predefined components. Okay, so like dealing with how to connect with databases. Okay, how to deal with SQL queries. Okay, how to auto generate websites. Okay, how to auto generate web forms. Okay, login forms, how to generate. Okay, so like this there are some automated tasks. Okay, so we don't have to do them from the scratch. Okay, so there are some predefined tools, so simply we have to import and we have to uh, use them. Okay, so this promotes rapid web application development. Okay, so instead of if we develop from the scratch, it will take some weeks, right? But if you are already using the predefined components, your development will be in days. Okay, so this is the advantage of using frameworks. Okay, so on the back end, so it includes object relational mapping system, routing system, HTTP handling framework. Okay, for front end, Django supports template engines and provides tool for managing static files. Okay, so there are some tools that you will know when we enter the course. Okay, how fastly we can develop websites using Django. Okay, so these are the advantages of using Django framework for developing web applications. Okay, so this Django framework is a full stack framework, so which means we can manage both front end and back end using this Django framework. Okay, So before discussing about how to set up Python, any doubts from all the topics we discussed so far? So you can speak up. There is no need to hesitate. Okay, you can ask any doubt. Okay, so let's move on to our next topic, which is how to set up Python in your system. So I have a doubt with you guys. So do you guys don't have any experience with HTML, CSS, or JavaScript? Are there any guys who don't have experience in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? At least basic experience, basic knowledge about HTML, CSS. Okay, so if there are any guys with no experience with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, try to get some experience in this week itself. Okay, so from next week we'll deal with these languages as well, but not into the depth. But we use them to generate basic websites. Okay, so you should have some basic knowledge about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can get that basic knowledge from w3schools.com as well. Okay, so they are very easy to understand. Okay, so you can understand by going through the tutorials on any website. Okay, so in the first week itself you get familiar with that, so that from the second week, we when we enter into Django, so you will also feel familiar with the flow. Okay, so that's my request for this course. Okay, but we will discuss basics of Python. If there is no familiarity for you with Python, so we'll discuss that in this week itself. Okay, so that's my request from my side. So get familiar with HTML, at least HTML, and HTML will be fine. Okay, if you don't have any knowledge. Okay, okay. Just a second. Okay, so to initially set up Python in your computer or system, first you have to download Python. To download, you have to go to website called python.org. Okay, so this is the official website of Python. Okay, so in this you can see downloads. Okay, so in these downloads you can see the current version of Python. Okay, so current version of Python is 3.12.3. Okay, so you can click on the this button. Okay, so you can see that it will be automatically downloaded into your system. Okay, so after downloading you have to double click on that. Since I already have a Python, it's say just a second. So there is a important step while installing. So that's why I want to show how to install Python. So else, okay. So now we have to double click on the open file. So here you can see that there are options like install now, customize installation, and there is a tick mark like use admin privileges while installing .exe. And additionally, you have to click on this add python.exe to path. Okay. So after clicking on this checkbox only, you will be successfully integrate your Python to your system. Okay, else it will not integrate successfully into your system. You have to integrate it manually by going to environment variables and setting the path. Okay, so while installing itself, if you click on this checkbox, there will be no issues. Okay, so now click on the install now. So this is successfully setup was successful. Okay, so you can close it. So to check whether it's got successfully installed or not, so simply you have to go to your open your command prompt, okay, and type Python and press enter. Okay, so if you see this prompt, so Python is successfully installed in your computer. Okay, so if you don't check that checkbox, so this will be throw an error. Okay, so it will say that Python is not this command is not found. Okay, so because it will not integrate with your system. Okay, so if you click on that checkbox, it will automatically integrate. Okay, else you have to go to environment, edit system environment variables, and you have to go to the environment variables, and you have to go to the path, and you have to add the Python path. Okay, so here you can see, so this is the path, right? So this is automatically added. Okay, so if you don't click on that checkbox, you have to manually add this path by going to environment variables. Okay, so then only you can access Python in your system. Okay, so if you get this, so successfully Python got installed in your system. Okay, so by installing Python, you'll also get one IDLE, okay, which is stands for Integrated Development Learning Environment. Okay, so you can search for Python. So if you click on this, so you'll get a prompt similar to your command prompt, but this is dedicated to Python. Okay, so this is called as IDLE, which stands for Integrated ID Development Learning Environment. Okay, ID IDLE. Okay, so this is used for learning purpose and testing purpose of your Python code. Okay, so to print a hello world program in your Python, you can simply write just print hello world. Okay, so this is the your first program in Python language, okay, which is hello world. Okay, so simply in other languages there will be some rules and structure to run a particular program, okay, but in Python there is no predefined structure like void main, okay. So in Java you have to write some extra code to write any single line of code, right? But in Python simply, so this line will print your hello world, okay. So this is for learning purpose, okay, but in general we have to write code in our files, right? So in Python, so Python files are defined by .py. Python files are defined or created by .py files, okay. So for example, if you want to create a programming file in Python, so that file name will be like hello.py, okay. So our text files will be like codes.txt, right? So similarly, so Python files are defined by .py files, okay. So to write this code you can use any file managing application, okay. For example, if you can use Notepad as well, okay. To write Python programs you can use Notepad, okay, or advanced environment developments, IDEs, okay, integrated development environments, okay. So previously we discussed this IDLE, okay, learning, okay. So this is simply integrated development environments, okay. So these are advanced tools for writing codes and codes, okay. So examples like VS Code, okay, PyCharm, Eclipse, okay. So Notepad plus plus, Sublime Text, okay, Vim, okay. So these are some major IDEs used for writing programming, okay. So you can use VS Code, okay, Sublime Text. So this is a lightweight text code editor. This is some advanced text code editor with extensions for our extra features, okay. So or for initial stages you can use Notepad as well, okay. So to install VS Code you have to go to the VS Code, simply search VS Code and you will open that Visual Studio Code. So in this, simply download the file according to your OS and install it normally, okay. So after installing, okay. So in this there will be different sections, okay. So in VS Code you will have folder section. So in this your all your programming files will be displayed and there will be some extensions section, okay. So in these extensions you have to search Python, okay, and install this, okay. So you have to install this so that you can successfully integrate Python to your VS Code as well, okay. So we'll see that later. For now let us write an application using Notepad, okay. So open a command prompt, type notepad dot first python code dot py, okay. So this is my uh, file name, okay, first python code dot py, okay. So if I click on this, so it will open on, so it will say if there is no such file, it will say can I create it, okay. So I am saying yes, create it, Okay, so your first Python code file is created. So in this you can write simply print hello world. Okay, so now to run this Python file, so previously in ideally simply we written print python dot print hello world, it got printed. Okay, but now we have written this code in a file. Okay, which is extending with .py. Okay, to run this code simply, so we have to python space first python code .py. Okay, so you will get here, you get the output. Okay, so in print statement we have given hello world, right? So same output got printed on your command prompt. Okay, so this is how you can create Python files. Okay, so this is how you write your first code in your Python. So if you face any issues while installing Python, you can contact me. Okay, so we have seen how to set up our Python. So you have to download and install Python from python.org site. Okay, so you can verify the installed version by typing just Python or Python space double hyphen version. Okay, so you can, and you can use IDEs to write code like PyCharm, VS Code, Sublime Text. Okay, so you can simply search on the website and download. Okay, to use them. Okay, or simply for starting purpose you can write your Python code in Notepad also. Okay, so this is our first Python program that we have written and saved in .py extension file. Okay, so and to run that program we have to use Python space and the file name .py. Okay, so that we will get the desired output on our output, or desired output on our command line. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic, variables in Python. Okay, so what is a variable in programming language? Okay, so in programming language, variable is a named location to store data in memory. Okay, so let's see some explanation about this. So these are some important topics in Python. So that's why we have to discuss this in deep. Okay, so variables. Okay, so in Python, variables are location addresses to store data. Okay, so in any programming languages we have to store some data, right? So or we have to work on some data. Okay, so to store that data, so we store that data will be stored in a memory location. Okay, for example, I want to store some name Raja in my programming. Okay, so that will be stored in a memory location. Okay, so this for in further programming, if I want to use this Raja name, so I should have some reference, right? So using that reference I can call this. Okay, so for that, so the reference will be its memory location address. Okay, again this memory location address is not human readable. Okay, which is a some code, location code. Okay, just like our longitude and latitude. So there will be some memory address. Okay, for that we will give a masked name. Okay, which is called as variable name. Okay, so for this, so if I want to store this name Raja, so I will store in a variable called as name equal to Raja. Okay, so that, so this is the variable name and this is the variable data. Okay, I assigned this data to this variable using this equal to sign. Okay, so like this I have created a variable in my Python. Okay, so variables are used to store data. Okay, so here this name is the reference for your memory location of this Raja in memory. Okay, so these are variables. Okay, so variables are used to store data, and these variable names are the references to the stored data. Okay, so using this name, we can call this data anywhere in your programming. Okay. So here you can see that I have stored x equal to 10, name equal to Alice, is active equal to true. Okay, so we'll discuss them further in data types. Okay, so there are some naming rules. Okay, so we have created name. Okay, so name, there are some naming rules. Okay, which are name must start with a letter or an underscore. Okay, so when we are creating a variables, so that name should start with either a letter, which means all the alphabets, or underscore. Okay, which means you cannot start a name with numbers or special symbols. Okay, so you can either you can start that name either using a letter, which means alphabet character, or another underscore. Okay, and this name can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. Okay, and not other special symbols. Okay, so and these names are case sensitive, which means the small letters age and this capital letters age are two different variables. Okay, so which means, so previously we have declared a variable called as name equal to Raja, right? So this is the name. Okay, variable name. Okay, so and this variable name, name have some rules. Okay, so those rules are, you cannot start this name with, you can start this name with either alphabets or underscore, which means you can start like this name. Okay, age. Okay, gender. Okay, only in these two ways you can start create your variable names. Okay, there are wrong ways. Okay, like this is like to name. Okay, age, dollar symbol. Okay, gender, mm, percentile. Okay, so by using special characters. Okay, so you cannot start a name by number. Okay, and you cannot start a name by special symbol, other special symbols other than underscore. Okay, so you can start either using alphabet, that can be capital letter or small letter. Okay, and you can start with underscore. Okay, with other than these two you cannot use like numbers, special symbols to create a variable name. Okay, this is the first rule. Okay, you can start either with alphabets or underscore. Okay, and the second rule is these names can have only alphabets, numbers, and underscores. Okay, for example, there is a two letter two letter, two words name. Okay, for example, I want to store first name. Okay, so this can be separated by underscore. This is called as snake case. First name Ram. Okay, second name. Okay, so like this, so you can separate two words by using underscore. Okay, so this will be the variable name. This is accepted variable name. Okay, but you cannot create like dollar symbol name. Okay, so you can use these names like number num1. Okay, num2. You can integrate numbers in your variable names but not at starting position. Okay, in middle you can use numbers. Okay, but not at the starting position as per our rule number 1. Okay, in rule number 2 you can use only these three types of characters to construct names. Okay, alphabets, numbers and underscores. Okay, these numbers cannot be in the first position. Okay, but these can be in the middle or end. Okay, but not in the first position. Okay, so these are the rules you have to remember while creating variable names. Okay, so let's see some examples of creating variable names so that you will. So let's see on command prompt. Okay, name or first name equal to Mahesh. Okay, last name equal to okay, and age equal to 50. Okay, gender equal to male. Okay, height equal to 6.2. Okay, so like this you can create variables. Okay, so these variables names can be anything. Okay, so here we have created age equal to 50, right? In the same way, if I create age equal to 27. Okay, so if I access age I get 50. Okay, and if I access age I get 27. Though these two names are same, but the difference is case. Okay, so here I have used small case. Okay, but here I have used capital case. So which means, so Python is a case sensitive language. That so if you declare a variable with small letters, it will be considered as a different variable, and the declared variable with age will be considered, capital letters will be considered as a different variable, because Python is a case sensitive language, which means it differentiates small letters and capital letters. Okay, so using this, you can create two different variables using the same name. Okay, so this is how we can create variables in our Python. Okay, and these are the three rules that you have to remember while creating variables. Okay, so first one is you cannot create variable names. You can create variable names with starting only alphabets or underscores. Okay, and the second rule is you can include only alphabets, numbers and underscores in your variable names. Okay, and third rule is Python is a case sensitive language, that variable names with small letters and capital letters will be considered as a two different variable names. Okay, two different variables. Okay, these are the rules you have to remember. Okay, so next topic is data types. So in Python there are different sections of data types, which are numeric types. So in numeric types we have int, float, complex. Okay, and the second type is string type, so which is str, which is used to hold text data. Boolean type. Okay, so Boolean type is used to store logical data like true or false. Okay, sequence types. Okay, there are, in sequence types there are list, tuple and range. In mapping type we have dictionary, and in set types we have set, frozen set, and in binary types you have bytes, byte array, memory view, and finally none type. Okay, which have none type. Okay, so before understanding data types, okay, so data types are different types of data that we can store in our programming language. Okay, so previously we have seen in command prompt that we have stored name data. Okay, Mahesh Gattamnani, age 20, age 50. Okay, so like that we have stored different types of data. So like text data we have stored, number data we have stored. Okay, float data we have stored. Okay, so data types are the different types of data types of data that a programming language supports. Okay, so Python supports these types of data in your programming. Okay, so before understanding these data types, you have to understand that Python is a dynamically typed language. Okay, so dynamically typed language in the sense we don't have to declare the type of data we are assigned. So if you observe previously in the this section, in the command prompt section, that we didn't mention that what type of data we are declaring. Okay, so Python is a dynamically typed language. Okay, so dynamically typed language in the sense, so in other programming languages, if you are declaring a variable, okay, so if you are adding some data to your programming, so you have to declare what type of data is that. For example, if I want to store uh, a name in a variable in other languages like Java, C language, okay, so you have to mention string. Okay, my name equal to Rajesh. Okay, so to store age, you have to mention a int age 33. Okay, so if you want to store uh, height, you have to use like double height 6.2. Okay, so like this you have to mention the what type of data you are going to store in this particular variable. Okay, so these are data types. Okay, so string is used to store collection of characters. Okay, so int is used to store numbers. Okay, so double is used to store fractional numbers. Okay, so with decimal points. Okay, so like this, uh, in other languages we have to mention the type. Okay, but in Python we don't have to mention the type. Okay, so it will automatically detect the type by the data we assign to that variable. Okay, so for example, if I assign my name to uh, Rajesh to this my name variable, so Python automatically considers this data type as string. Okay, and again if I change this my name to 23, okay, so this data type will be changed to int. Okay, so this the data type of this variable will be decided by the data we are assigning to this variable. Okay, so if I assign numbers value to this data type, so the respective number value data type will be assigned to this variable. Okay, if I assign a string of characters, then it will assigned as a then it will be declared as a string. Okay, this is an automation process. Okay, so whatever the data we are assigning to this variable, so that data type will be automatically allotted to this variable. That's why it's called as dynamically typed language. Okay, in other languages we have to mention the data type that we are going to use. Okay, there is some disadvantage of this, that's which means in other languages, for example, if we have some baskets. Okay, so for example, these are called these baskets are used to store mangoes. Okay, and these baskets are used to store flowers. Okay, so In other languages, if there are baskets for mangoes, I can only store mangoes in this basket. Okay, so if there is a basket of flowers in other languages, I can store only flowers in this basket. I cannot store mangoes in this basket because it will not accept. Okay, if I declared a variable with string, I can only store string data. Okay, if I declare a variable with int, I can store only int data. Okay, same way. So if there is a basket particularly for particular thing, so those particular things only can be stored in this basket. But in Python, there will be simply one basket. Okay, open basket. We can store anything. Okay, so if you store mangoes in this basket, it will be called as mangoes basket. Okay, so if you store flowers in this basket, it will be called as flowers basket. Okay, so if you store some biscuits, it will be called as biscuits basket. Okay, like this. So this type will be the type of basket will be declared by storing what content you are storing in that basket. Okay, by not storing the respective content in the basket. Okay, so this is the difference between statically typed languages and dynamically typed languages. Okay, so Python is a dynamically typed languages that variables types will be declared by the data we are assigning to that variable. Okay, so these are the all the available data types in our Python that they support. Let's see them briefly one by one. So first one is numeric data types. Okay, so numeric data types are the types of number data that we can store in our Python. Okay, so first is integer. Okay, so integer values are the real numbers that we use in our daily life. Okay, so which is a equal to 5. Okay, so age equal to 33. Okay, mileage equal to 23. Okay, like that. What are the numbers we are using are called as integers. Okay, next one is float. Okay, so float is a floating point numbers. In other language it's called as double or float. Okay, so this is a float which is used to store decimal data. Okay, so decimal points data will be considered as floating point. Okay, and there is complex. Okay, so in your schooling you may have dealt with the complex numbers, right? Real number and imaginary part. Okay, so those numbers also can be stored in Python using this complex data type. So if we assign 1 plus 2j, so it will be considered as a complex number. Okay, so this one will be the real part and this 2j will be the imaginary part. Okay, so these are the number types that are available in Python. We can store in variables. Okay, so this ABC are the variable names. So the type of this variable name will be uh, attached by the data we are assigning. Okay, next which is next one is string data type. Okay, so string data type is used to store sequence of characters. Okay, so sequence of characters can be stored in quotations. Okay, so you can store either in single quotations, double quotations, or triple quotations. Okay, so single and double quotations are used for storing single line data. Okay, triple line quotations are used for storing large text of data. Triple quotes are used to store large text of data. So that I will show practically. Okay. So to store sequence of characters in a variable, you can use quotations. Okay. So this data type is called string. Okay, which is sequence of characters. This can be any characters. Okay. All the available characters on your keyboard can be used to write this code, write this text. Okay, and next one is boolean type. Okay, so boolean type represents only two types of data, so either true or false. For example, so here is sunny, true; is rainy, false. Okay, so like that, to assign a logical data like true or false, you can use this boolean type. Okay, so this have only two types of data, which is true or false. Okay, so this is mainly used for in logical expressions, like for example whether a user is logged in or not. Okay, to check something. Okay, in that purpose we use boolean data types. Okay, and next one is sequence data types. Okay, sequence data types are there are three. First one is list. List is a ordered collection of items. Okay, so if you want to store multiple items in a single variable, so you can use list. Okay, so in this you can store items. You can create a list by using square brackets. Okay, so in square brackets, if you store multiple items, so this will be called as sequence of items, which is called as list. So and the data type can be anything. Okay, it's not, it's like array in other languages. In other languages, if you declare an array of particular type, you can store only that particular type of data in that array. But in Python, so we have list. So in this list you can store any type of data. Okay, and it also accept mixed type of data. Okay, for example, here you can see that apple, banana, cherry. Okay, and I can also store different types of data like apple 23, 33.7. Okay, false. Okay, complex numbers. All the available data types you can store collectively or separately or as per your convenient. Okay, so these are called as lists. Okay, and next one is tuple. Okay, so tuple is ordered immutable collection of items. Okay, so this is also similarly used for uh, used to store multiple types of data, just like list. The difference between list and tuple is, so list data is mutable, which means we can change the data. Once we created the data, we can change it, like adding new data. Okay, like deleting data, updating data. We can do all those functions on list. Okay, but tuples are immutable. Immutable in the sense, once we have created data, we are not able to change the data. We can only use the data or replace the entire data. Okay, so this is the difference between list and tuple. Okay, and next one is range. So range is used to generate range of numbers. For example, if I want to generate some 0 to 5 numbers, then I can use this range of 5. Okay, so it will generate sequence of numbers so that I can use those numbers in looping conditions. Okay, so these are the three types of sequence. Sequence in the sense, these are able to store multiple data. Okay, so these are the sequence data types. Next one is mapping data type. Okay, so mapping
Sir,
data
can I
type.
ask you a doubt?
Yes,
Sir, what will be the data type of range? Is it list?
sorry,
I'm
can you
asking,
repeat?
what is the type of that numbers?
These numbers,
Yes.
coordinates, right? You are asking about coordinates example, right?
No, sir. I'm numbers, variable numbers.
You are asking about this section.
No, sir. Just what will return the range function?
Range function will return range object. Okay, but it is not readable. To read that object, you have to convert into list. Okay,
Oh, okay, okay,
so
sir. Okay.
yeah, generally it is not used to generate it. For example, if you want to run a for loop for some 5 times, then in that time you can use range of 5. Okay, so that that for loop will run for 5 times. Or if you want to generate some numbers from 2 to 10, or 2 to some from starting position to ending position, using range you can generate, and you have to convert that into a list by passing to list of method, so that will be readable. If you simply generate with range, it will be not readable. Okay, so it will be like it will return a range object. Okay, so that can be accessed only by loops. If you want to read that, you have to convert either to list or tuple.
Okay, sir.
Don't worry, I will show the examples. Don't worry. So next one is dictionary. So dictionary is a collection of key value pairs. So, okay. So previously, so we simply stored collection of items. Okay, but in dictionary, so for each item there will be some key. Okay, it's like reference. Okay, so collection of key value pairs. Here name is the key and its value is alias. Okay, here age is the key and value is 25. Okay, so like this we store data with key value pairs so that we can access using keys. Okay, so these there will be some separate discussion about sequence data types, list tuples and dictionaries, because these are widely used and widely used and important topics. Okay, so we'll specially discuss today about these three. Okay, so dictionaries are key value pairs. So here also you can store multiple data types of data, so there is no restriction to particular single type of data, but here key names should be uh, imbibed in strings. Okay, so this can be either strings or numbers. Okay, so other than that you can't use any, and this key name should be unique for each value. Okay, else those will be merged into one key. Okay, so these are the keys and values. So these dictionaries are created using these curly braces. Okay, so previously if you observe, lists are created using the square braces, and the coordinates are created within parentheses. Okay, and dictionaries are created using curly braces with key value pairs. Okay, so each is a item, each one is a key value item. Okay, so next data type is set data types. Okay, we have already seen sets topic in our schooling. Okay, so these are also similar with in programming way. So set is a collection of unique items. Okay, so if sets are so created using curly braces, but with sequence of items instead of key value pairs, we store sequence of items in this curly braces. So the unique feature of this set is that it stores only unique data. For example, two, if I repeat three two times in this set, so it will consider only one time. Okay, so it will automatically, if when after declaring this, if I call again unique numbers, it will show only three for one time. That is also first appearance. Okay, if I repeat this three after this five, so it will not consider it because it is a duplicate data. Okay, so which means, so this set stores only unique items. Okay, and the second one is frozen set. So frozen set is like immutable version of set value pairs. Okay, this is also similar to set but frozen, which means, so in this set I can update, add data, delete data, I can do all those tasks, but this frozen set is like a fixed set. Okay, I can't change the data, but it will hold the features like it is also used to hold the unique data just like set. Okay, so just like list and tuple, so here we have set and frozen set. Okay, and the next type is binary data type. This we almost never use in our web development. This is used for other bit level programming like digital signal processing, image processing. Okay, in those fields they use these data types. We generally never use these data types. Okay, so these are bytes which are used to store binary data. So if we place b before a string, it will be considered as a binary data. Okay, if you want to store multiple data, binary data, you can use binary array. And for memory view, okay, so to store memory locations, you can use memory view data type. Okay, so these are the binary data types that are available in Python. We almost never used in our web development. These are used for other fields like digital processing. Okay, which deal with the binary data. Okay, okay, and finally we have none type. Okay, so none type represents the absence of a value. For example, if you declared a variable and for now you do if you for now you don't want to store any data in that variable, you can declare that variable with value none. Okay, or after deleting particular value, so that value will be none. Okay, so none value is used to represent the absence of a value. In other languages you may see that null values, right? So similarly, so in Python it is called as none. Okay, so to represent the absence of a value to particular variable, you can assign none. Okay, so these are the data types that are available in Python. Okay, so that's it for today's session. So any doubts from today's session? So if you have patience, I will show the variables one by one with examples and and how to check types. Okay, so it will be finished in 10 minutes. Okay, let us see all the types one by one. Just a second. Okay, so let us see all the data types one by one. So these are called as you can create comments using hashtag in Python. Okay, so these will be not compiled in by the Python. It will be just used for human understanding or for documentation. Okay, in number types we have first int. Okay, so int can be stored like number 123, age 34. Okay, so all these are okay, all these are called numbers. Okay, which we are storing. Okay, and we can check the type of this data type using type function. Okay, type of number. Okay, which is integer. Okay, type of age. Okay, which is integer. Okay, and the second data type is float. Okay, float can be stored like uh, what is this height 5.7. Okay, and weight 70.5. Okay, so and quantity 5.5, 5.9 kgs. Okay, so like this, all these decimal data types, decimal type of data can be stored in this. So yeah, you can check weight equal to, which is data type of float. So it is getting automatically assigned by the data we are assigning to the variable. Okay, and we can change the data. We can modify the data type as well simply by height equal to 6. Okay, so now the height got changed to 6. Okay, now if I check type of height, it's int. Okay, so previously it is a float type. Now I have changed the data, so the dynamically the data type got changed to int. Okay, so previously float, now got changed to int by the data I have assigned it to this table. Okay, so this flexibility is not available in statically typed languages like JavaScript. Okay, once we have created that the data type, once we have created that variable of specific type, we are able to store only that specific type of data. We can't store other type of data. Okay, same way if I change this height to 6 feet. Okay, so now what will be the type of this data? String. Okay, so like this, so by the data we are assigning to this variable, so the data type will be assigned. Okay, so this is how we can create floating data. Okay, so next one is complex. So complex data can be created using equal to some 3 plus 5g. Okay, so like this we can real, imaginary, or just a second. Okay, image. Okay, c dot real gives real data, c dot image gives the imaginary data. Okay, so like this, so if you check type of c, so you'll get complex. Okay, so like this you can create numbers. Next one is string. So string we have already seen. So string is sequence of characters. Okay, so if you check type greeting, so you'll get string. Okay, so you can store string either in single quotes or double quotes or triple quotes as well. Okay, this is also used for multiple lining comments as well. Okay, so like this you can create strings, okay, either using double quotes, single quotes or triple quotes. Okay, so these are all called as strings, which are used to store sequence of characters. Okay, next one is boolean type. Okay, boolean type is used to store okay, so type will be bool. Okay, so which is used to for storing true or false data. Okay, so just like true or false questions, so you can store the data with the true or false. Okay, okay, so like this you can store data in the boolean conditions. Next one is sequence. Sequence types is first roots. So first one is list data type. So list data type can be stored like names equal to using square brackets. Um, Sita, okay, so like this you can store same type of data. So if you check the type of these names, you'll get list. You can store user like one Mahesh 5.5 true Mahesh at the rate gmail.com. Okay, so like this you can store mixed data as well. Okay, so and this type will be list. Okay, so you can store of the same data or mixed data type, whatever the type you wish, you can store in the list. Okay, and you can update, delete. We will see in the separate discussion about sequence items. Okay, so this is list and tuple. So tuples are created using parentheses. Okay, so like this you can create tuples. The difference is you can update this, you can modify this data, and in this tuple you cannot modify data. That we'll see in our separate section. If you check the type fixed data, so you get as tuple. Okay, and the next type term is range. Okay, in range, for example, if I generate 5, so I'll get, so range as 0 to 5. Okay, so you can't see anything. So to convert, to read this data, you can see that range of 5. Sorry. So you'll get the list of data from 0 to 4. Okay, so by default the starting position will be from 0. In case if you want to generate from 1, you can give starting number as 1 and ending number minus so you will get from up to 5, not 5, but up to 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you want to generate from up to 5, you have to use here 6. Okay, so like this will be the starting position and this will be the ending position. Okay, so like by default, the starting position will be 0. But if you want to control the starting position also, so you can control the starting position as well. Okay, so like this you can generate a range of numbers so that you can use them for your use. Okay, this is called range. Okay, and next one is mapping. So in mapping we have only one data type, which is dictionary, which is called as dict in a collection of key value pairs. Person equal to name Rajesh, age 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 equal to 23. Okay, height equal to 1.2. Okay, so like this we can create dictionaries in Python. Using this keys you can access the data. We will discuss that separately in the topic. So like this you can create dictionaries. Okay, and finally we have set types. So if you check type of this person, so you get dictionary. So set we have numbers equal to, for example, if I am declaring, so you can see that I am duplicating numbers. So here I have duplicated 1, 2 and 3. So 1 I have used declared 2 times, 2 I have declared 3 times, and 3 2 times. Okay. So now if I call numbers, so I get only unique representation of these numbers. Okay. So all the duplicates got removed, only unique one representation of those duplicate values are considered. Okay. So these are called as sets. Okay, so this is data type is set. Okay, same way if you want to create frozen set, so you can create frozen set by passing that particular sequence to frozen set, so that will be created frozen set, so that you cannot modify this data further. And we are not going to discuss about binary numbers as it's not important topic. And finally none type. So none type is used to, for example, I'm waiting for to get name data, so then I can, for now I can use none. Okay, later I will change that data to, okay, for now I have kept that data to none. Okay, so it represents there is no data. Sorry. So in Python you cannot create empty variables, right? Okay, so like, which means without assigning any data you cannot create variables. I mean, like uh, for example, I have not created any variable with name like email. Okay, so I get error. Okay, so email is not defined. So which means if you want to declare empty variables, you have to declare by providing none. Okay, so then you can get value nothing. Okay, so if you try to access this email, you get nothing because nothing is sent to this email. Okay, now you get email. Okay, so initially it's none value, then you assign a value, so it's now its type will be string. Okay, so these are the different types of data types that are available in Python, and these are the examples of data types. So any doubts from these data types? So that's it for today. So if you have any issues while installing or any doubts regarding the course, you can contact Swami or me. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.